All right, we are live, everybody. Bear with me. This is my first time, so first timer here. Um, but yeah, welcome everyone. My name's Tyler Devine. I'm sure you all saw whether you're on the app or whether you get updates with an OCD. I am an advocate for OCD. I was on here a few weeks ago with Jenna Overbaugh, who, by the way, is amazing. If any of y'all can go back and look at her stuff, the past things that she does, awesome insight. So shout out to Jenna if you're watching. If not, I'm sure she'll see it somewhere. So yeah, welcome everyone. Like I said, I'm kind of new to this, so I'm going to kind of go through some questions, see what I can answer. My goal for this is just to kind of give my testimony. So I don't have a lot of clinical experience. I have had OCD for since I was a kid. Started to go to therapy probably about 6 years ago. I live in Florida, so I saw a specialist. I looked up when I first started figuring it out. I was like, all right, I need a specialist. So I found someone nearby, and thankfully she was so amazing to kind of kick off this journey that is OCD. As it continues. So um, yeah, so I'll just kind of go through some questions. We'll kind of talk, and I'm a very chill type person. I like to kind of approach OCD from a different kind of standpoint. Something that's brings more light to it, and yeah, so we'll go from there. All right, so let's check it out. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna kind of go in order. It seems like we have a few questions already, so let's check it out. All right, this one's from Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Let's see. Why does my OCD keep making me feel like something changed when I started thinking thoughts, even though I know it didn't? It makes me feel so real. Any advice, or can you relate to this? Um, yeah, I mean, as we all know, um, obviously OCD can attack anything. Usually, what we love, what we cherish, our values. And you're kind of it's just this constant like thing in your head that you just keep questioning, questioning, questioning. I mean, that's why we call it the doubting disease, right? Um, I'm coming speaking as a veteran because I've seen it over and over again. But when I started, I wasn't able to recognize that these thoughts were over and over again. If someone else could kind of look, if we could write it down, it would be noticeable. But when you're struggling like we are, it's not easy to A, stop, B, recognize. Um, so yeah, like I said, it's the doubting disease for a reason, and it's really hard to understand, to kind of get to that point where it's like, hey, this is gonna happen. It's okay to just kind of let it pass by, and let it, you know, pass you. So, yeah, I mean, looking more into that question, uh, thoughts are changing. It does feel real. And Kayla, I can relate to you on that. I think we talked about this last time, Jen and I, but um, we as OCD people, we take everything is very real and everything very serious. Every thought, every feeling, every emotion, it's so serious and it's so black and white usually. Um, but it's it's yeah, I mean it makes it feel so real that it's hard to take sometimes. I remember, just the other day, I mean, I was kind of going through a couple changes in my life, and even as 10-year vet, dealing with OCD, I know it like the back of my hands. I know what's happening, I know what's going on. I still get caught up. It's just part of us. But I think embracing it, when you can get to that point that you're kind of embracing the OCD, and you're kind of like, all right, like I know this is part of me. And you embrace it. And we even talked about helping other people with it is another step, as Jenna mentioned in the tier to to recovery. But yeah, it does feel real. You're definitely very right. And for me personally, because like I said, I wanted to make this a testimony about what I've dealt with and what I've gone through. Is when things get very real and serious, I love to just like I've gotten really good at taking the seriousness out of things. Whether that's at work, at home with family, out with friends. There's a lot of things that like OCD takes serious everywhere, where some people don't really struggle with that. Some people it's not serious to go out with your friends, whereas someone like me, who when anxiety's high and when I'm around other people, might get SOCD, SOCD triggers, and that's just the way I'm built, and being able to deal with that, at any given moment is is the key to recovery. So, all right, let's keep rolling. I'm glad you guys are here. Seriously, it's a big step, to just get on here and to kind of surrender, your what you're dealing with is just amazing. So kudos to y'all for just stepping into this, this webinar. So, all right, let's see. Veg, let's see. How did you become an advocate? I feel like I want to help the community in some way, but I'm struggling to find that way is. That's awesome. Good question. I got on, I hope all you have the NOCD app. It's pretty cool. You make a little profile. You can answer other people and kind of comment and things like that. And that's what's awesome. I always think like every area of mental health should have something like this. It shouldn't be just OCD that we have groups and we talk and we bring things to the light. So I think every community needs this, but I'm glad we have it. I'm glad that we're making strides with it as the OCD community. But I would first of all get on NOCD, make your profile, and then what I started doing was I would like find random people and random things that like kind of related to what I deal with things like SOCD and like relationship OCD, but things in my world that I really care about, that OCD seems to attack mainly for me. And I would reach out to other people and I would kind of write to them, and it really kind of helped me. It helped bring my OCD to the light. And not only did it do that, but it also helped other people that were struggling with the exact same thing. So I think it's a great way. The app does great in that way that you can write to other people, and it's very secure, and it's just an awesome thing. So I hope more people get on that. I think it's great. It was a great, I don't use it much anymore, like in that way, but definitely for a while there, when I was going through some times with OCD and life changes, it was great. I'd wake up every day and I'd like write to somebody new, and it helped me almost that surrender feeling, like, okay, like I'm going to embrace this. I'm also going to help somebody at the same time. And, that really, really helped me and pushed me to another level. Like Jenna was saying, another tier of recovery. So, yeah, get on there, and learn about OCD, learn about what's going on. And, I think the best thing that we can do as advocates is learn more and more about it, because then, I'm not a clinician, so, but that doesn't mean I can't learn more and I can't, understand more what's going on, because you never know, like maybe your kids someday will struggle with something similar. We know OCD is very anxiety related. It's an anxiety disorder. And, I think there's a lot of people that don't have OCD that would benefit from OCD therapy, because it does teach you how to sit with uncertainty, how to sit with anxiety, and how to, cope in times of stress. So, yeah, those couple things, learn, get on the app, and also just spread the peace and the word about, mental health. I mean, we all know that we live in a world that, is kind of stigmatized in the mental health field, but you know what? That's changing, and I think I'm 27, but I think our generation especially is changing the game in that. So keep it up. Let's see where we're going. Yeah, keep chatting. I mean, it's hard for me to talk and stay up with it, so keep chatting to each other. I'm gonna keep picking on some things that I think I could help y'all with. All right, so Chelsea Ramirez. How are you, Chelsea? Have you dealt with POCD? I do. My first theme was harm, and I have recovered once, but my OCD came back with POCD. So yeah, this is a perfect example, Chelsea and everyone else out there. I said in my last interview I did with Jenna that, it seems like the SOOCD, for anybody that doesn't know what that means, that's used to be homosexual OCD. Now it's sexual orientation OCD, which is actually a bigger name and actually covers more people that suffer from it. So those two are really related. I noticed just from my testimony and what I've dealt with. It seems like they're very related. I don't know about like going from harm to POCD, but I know coming from SOCD, I know that I show signs of POCD, and I've seen it before, and it's definitely very related. I think because it's of like the same kind of orientation. It's both kind of very taboo in our society, things. And yeah, I think that's why how I related those two, and how even my brain, without me knowing, relates those two, and kind of brings up triggers as we go. But the big thing with stepping back, Chelsea, with OCD, whether it's harm, POCD, SOCD, um, the big thing for everybody to recognize, whether you're in therapy or not, is that you train and you tackle it with through the same program. It's not like, POCD, it's known, OCD is going to jump, OCD is going to take on different forms. And if you can embrace that and just understand that now, you'll be better off. Because at the point when things come up in your life and things change, OCD is going to try to change with it, but you'll be like, no, like I've trained for this, I've gotten ready for this. So that's the big thing. That's why it's a very unique disease, because it changes and it morphs, into different things. So, um, but don't have much experience with harm OCD. Jen and I talked about that last time, but I definitely can understand. I know enough about the way the brain works and the way OCD takes on these different forms and these different categories, that it is hard. And I'm sure if we sat here and talked, Chelsea, that all of the things that I deal with SOCD would line right up with harm and POCD. And that's, if you can get to that point and understand that they're all actually, it's kind of irrelevant. The better you can get in training, and the more quality things you can put into ERP, and things with your therapist or on an OCD. So, um, but yeah, let's see where we at. Where we at? All right, I'm gonna go back to this because this is pretty simple. Wes Crawford. Wes, it's a cool name, man. One of my best friends back when I was a kid was Wes. Wes Lee, actually. So, hey, how should I go about when it feels real? So we kind of touched on this already, but um, y'all, any of y'all who know me already know that when my stuff gets real, um, I kind of learn to cope with it, to make things not real and funny and bring light to it. Because that real feeling makes us feel like we want to curl up in a ball, right? That real heavy feeling makes us feel like we don't want to look at somebody. I know with SOCD, what I struggle with, and any of y'all out there that either struggle with that, or like I said, everything's related. So you can take this and relate it to your own. Sometimes I can't, like, in my head, I don't want to look people in the eye. Specifically, sometimes it's guys, I can't look in the eye. And it's just, I noticed that going on, and that, that's, that's when it's really very real. When every single person I pass, I have that OCD thought. That's the first thing, and then it kind of trickles down from there. But yeah, it can get very real, and learning to step back, is like another tier of that process. I started off doing ERP and writing things down, and making little things that I'd read every morning when I woke up. That's kind of where I started, with SOCD especially. I remember I'd have in my nightstand, like, I'd write the situations out. I'd write like the things that I didn't want to face, the things that I was so scared of, the thoughts, and I'd write them down. And I'd literally pull out that paper every morning, or whenever whenever I felt strong enough to and courageous enough to do it, I would pull that out. And the hard thing too with training, and why this is this particular side of mental health and anxiety disorders is so interesting, is because we kind of welcome that anxiety. When I get on here, even when I do ERP, when I welcome things, when I do say an ERP exposure, even out in the world in my daily life, I'm kind of welcoming that anxiety. But here's the catch: that when you do that, slowly over time, it decreases anxiety, and it decreases the thoughts, and it decreases that heavy burden on your shoulders, where I don't want to look up at the next person. So I think kind of what got me through the times when I first started my journey was, accepting that anxiety was going to be really high, and accepting that it was going to be worth it. I think that there's a lot of things in life too that, whatever you do and whatever your career is, whatever your dreams are, like, I feel like that it's related to that. You have to kind of be willing to work and be willing to accept certain things that may not be like beneficial to you at the moment, but for a fact because it's in your heart that it's going to help you down the road. So I think that is one big thing, like when I started, that kind of made it very real, but it also got me to where I am today. So that's the best time, the best time to do that training. Obviously, when it feels very real, I think the best thing is to step back. I'm not a person, therapists might disagree or other people might disagree, but I'm not a big person that is like, that believes in like really working on your ERP and all that when it's like really bad. If there's times in your life where you're going through some stuff, I think the best thing is to kind of not push it to the side, but kind of transfer your energy into something else. When you're having a high anxiety day or you have a big event or something like that, I've noticed that the best thing for me is to not go do ERP, not to bring it in right then and there, but also not to avoid it. So there's a difference. There's like two paths, one's avoidance, which we all know doesn't work. I mean, we know that for a fact. Everybody like raise your hand at your computer and say that doesn't work, because it doesn't. So avoidance versus uh, just like kind of doing something different, like your thoughts. We can get involved in this thought process over and over again, the same thoughts. Okay, every person I work with walk by. Okay, can't look them in the eye, can't look them in the eye, it's everything. So I think instead of avoiding it, take that other path of, just transferring into something else, go watch something funny. Read a book, anything you guys like to do that literally gets your mind off that path, and I'm not saying you're avoiding it, and I'm not saying that you're reassuring yourself by doing that. You're just literally jumping on a different path for the time being, and focusing, trying to learn how to focus in on other areas of life that are beside your OCD. So I hope that helps, Wes. Let's see what we got. All right, Mr. Parker. So Mr. Parker said, my SOOCD got the best of me today. I told my girlfriend what I was going through. She didn't take it well. So yeah, this is kind of a whole other side of OCD that really helps the recovery process and really helps your life, as you move forward. And I've actually dealt with this. This relates to my testimony a lot. When I was first kind of figuring out OCD and learning about what was going on in my head and what I was struggling with, what I was fighting. I had somebody by my side, to kind of talk to, and we didn't make it, didn't bring it up as much as more than needed, but that person was really good with it. I had a good experience with someone that was willing to kind of surrender, like I said, and be welcoming about like mental health and things like that. So I was blessed to have that. I had an experience where you could talk about it and like we're doing here, and it wasn't negative, because we all know that, and Mr. Park, I can understand that it's hard when someone kind of you're expecting this reaction to be positive to help you, and then it's a negative reaction. Like I said, it's kind of irrelevant to everything that's going on. And the one thing that's helped me lately is to understand that, OCD is just me, and no one else can see it. No one else has to deal with it, but and, it's great to have someone there, and it's great to have someone to talk to. But I think if you step back and kind of look at what it sounds like from the outside, sometimes it's too much, sometimes, and I don't know if that's what it is or not, but I know, speaking from my experience, that sometimes OCD is too much, sometimes it's like, it's a lot to handle, for people. So if I can tell any of y'all, the best thing to do is, like I said, learn to take care of it with yourself, learn to take care of it with your therapist, helping others. And obviously, the Lord above is always my kind of go-to for everything. So OCD included, but yeah, it's not easy when someone, gives a negative response, but I think that you can use that as a strength builder though. I mean, um, I think it's really cool that you just admitted that you got the best of you. Like, in my opinion, that sounds amazing. I mean, just that you can admit and see that that was OCD that made your day struggle. That's a plus to me in your recovery. Um, it's kind of irrelevant to, I think, the way people react. I think it's irrelevant what they think. Obviously, you want a positive reaction from your girlfriend. That's awesome. You two are a team, and that might not always happen. But you know what? That doesn't change your recovery. That doesn't change that you stepped up and said, "Hey, like, I'm struggling today," and you raised your hand and you said what it was, and that's bigger sometimes than you think. So, good job, I would say, and looking at the positive side of that. But maybe just looking at that, maybe explain, like, in a peaceful manner, sit down, and maybe if you want to talk more about, like, what's actually going on, and hey, this is what I do, this is what I'm struggling with, share with this video, of us talking on here, because it is very real, and it's a very, very difficult thing to deal with, at different times of life. So it's good to have someone there, but like I said, it's between you and you, and I think it's great, like I said, that you just stepped up and said you're suffering, as we all should, whether we have OCD or not. uh, so that's awesome. Let's see what else we got. You guys are talking a lot. Let's see. Yeah, I like to read through these and see. I think it was Mez. That's cool that you can relate. Definitely not easy. The eye contact thing is a big one. I had that. I have that every day still. I've been doing it for years. So with you, with you, man, or Mez. I'll put this one up. Chemical W6. So it says, the stigmas are harsh, and people have so many misconceptions about OCD. I've not divulged some of my obsessions to any uh, of my psychiatrist, therapist, family, etc. Scary, I guess. Educate them too. So yeah, I think that that's the best thing we can do. Just us doing this on here, I think, is educating for people. Um, it's not. I remember, telling my family, and they still don't know every little detail about it, which they don't need to. But if you ever feel like sharing, obviously that's probably a positive thing. Um, but yeah, it is hard. This is definitely a side of mental health that is really, really hard to talk about, and I think that that's what's made me so strong, though, is that I can talk about anything, and I'm not afraid, because I know what's going on, and I'm strong with my values, and it's been some time, since I've started the journey, but yeah, I think it's a blessing and a curse, obviously, because the blessing of OCD is that you get to learn to be a beast at facing your fears, and, like, every minute of every day, sometimes not, um, but it's also a curse where it can, really take you away from the things in life, when it's hitting hard, that actually matter and that you want to focus on. But yeah, if you guys are, like, struggling, I think it's the best to focus on that B side, where you're like, all right, I'm gonna face these fears, and if you feel up for it, obviously, I'm gonna face these fears. I'm gonna do these ERPs. I'm gonna, like, get really good at this. And I think that that mentality in me that I've kind of always had with everything I do, whether it's with fitness or with family or in faith or anything like that. Like that mentality has always seemed to carry me through. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's definitely carried me through some tough times, with OCD and in life in general. Um, so yeah, education's big though. I mean, look at how far we've come with this app and with us on here talking and being able to see, hey, I deal with the same thing, things like that. So education's huge. When I first started out, like educating myself, I think helped the most. That looking back, I think at the time it felt like it was making it worse, but definitely getting to know what's going on, and that goes for anything you deal with. Getting to know it, kind of lightens the load a little bit. So, um, and when I guess when I say get to know it, I don't really mean like overdo it. I think we all have looked up, we've all Googled, we've all done those things where when our OCD is, really getting us and we're the same thoughts over and over again and we're searching for that answer where it's like, that's like too much. You know what I mean? Like there's a point where, education's good, but there was a point where I was even at where it wasn't education, it was just reassurance. So finding that fine line, I think, is great to be able to step back and educate yourself, but not reassure yourself. Sitting here over and over again, looking up the same stuff. But education is good. Yeah, I think it's great for other people too. Because you never know. Like I said, you might have family members that need help with this or some other area related. Then you could give them help. With this training that you're doing. Um, so it's always a positive. I'm a big believer in you're given something for a reason, and you know take it as a gift. I know it sounds, some of you just starting out, some of you that are scared. I know it sounds crazy, like why is Tyler on here saying it's a gift to have OCD? But if you take it like that and you run with that, it'll never bring you down. So using it as a gift, how can I use my OCD for good rather than just sit here and sit in my thoughts and let it, dwindle me down to nothing. So use it for good, help out people with it, help people understand it. Your people you're close to, bring it to their light. If they say something, then just be so proud. That no matter what reactions are. I think in this world, a lot of times, and even in fitness and stuff that I do, it's a lot of people's biggest problem is comparing yourself and worrying about what other people think. Um, I think with OCD, the same rings true. It's not really caring what people think, and really sticking close to your values and trying to become better and better every day. A better man or a better woman for your next generation and the generation after that. If that's what's in your cards. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, I want to talk about this real quick because I know this is a big question, everybody. Um, just medication in general. Maybe medication as well if it helps break down that barrier. Andy, that's a great point. I kind of jumped in the middle of a conversation, I think, but whatever, you guys get it. I I am on a medication. It's a small dose, and I never started it until about a year ago. Um, there was 5 years there where I was just doing training, and learning, and trying to get better with OCD without it. But then I kind of, I think that it helps me, get through some of the tough times, especially um, because when I started realizing that, what we deal with is kind of a chemical issue. The therapist that I worked with, the specialist down here in Florida, was awesome. I mean, we did everything from dig into the anatomy of the brain to the way things are working, and I'm big into that. So that's kind of how I learned about how everything's going on in there. But it does make sense, whether you're an advocate or a believer in medicine or not. It does make a lot of sense, and I can back it up that even just a little bit for me really was a boost that I needed to help me forward. So um, if you don't believe in medication, I don't know what and how much everybody, but the best thing to do is look into it. It can't hurt to experiment. With OCD, since we're going to kind of be these advocates and people all our life, I think it's good to kind of experiment different types of therapy, maybe a different form of medication or something like that. Because I think that's how you find the perfect mix. We're all different. And I always tell people, in what I do with fitness is we all have different bodies. Nobody has the same needs. Nobody can eat the same and lift and work out the same and we look the same. Everybody's different and everybody has different ways that they have to go about reaching their best version of them, whether it's mentally, physically, or emotionally. So I'm a big believer. I think I take fluoxetine is what it is called. Just for anybody out there that's wondering, I take about 20 milligrams of that, I think, a day. That's very, very small. Um, but it has helped me. It has helped me a lot to kind of that little bit of boost that I needed, to combine with training and combine with ERP and things like that. It really definitely has helped. And like I said, I think it helped more. It helps more with anxiety. And again, I'm not a therapist, so don't take this to don't take notes necessarily, but it definitely brought my anxiety down a little bit, like my natural anxiety in different situations, which allowed me to kind of step back and which kind of turned down the knob on OCD. So I think that that's the way it goes. Any of y'all reach out, talk to that about with your therapist or on an OCD or wherever you're at in the world, and bring that up. If you're thinking about it, don't be afraid of it. I was kind of afraid of it. I was like, I'm gonna be on medicine. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there right at that point, but yeah, don't be afraid of it. Definitely talk to whoever you're working with, a specialist or therapist, and just bring it up and see what might work for you. Like I said, it's the same to me as fitness. How do I get the physique I want? I keep experimenting. Do I need to eat more carbs? Do I need to eat less carbs? Do I need to lift heavier? Do I need to lift lighter, more reps? Do I need to hit this angle, that angle? So I kind of took that idea in what I do in my career, and I took it into this as well. So it's really helped. So yeah, face your fears. That's what we're masters of, right? Yeah, it's good. Not a bad person because you're having these thoughts. That's an awesome, awesome statement. Andy, Avila, props, bro. That was a good one. And a lot of guys too. A lot of my experiences, like with mental compulsions. I don't have a ton of experience with like physical things. I know a lot of a lot of areas. There's a big area of OCD that's all physical and touching and things like that. I don't have a lot of experience with that, but I know, I've studied enough to know where it's coming from and then the similarities. Um, but yeah, a lot of mine is just mental. Like, one second. Cats can do. Love them and hate them. But yeah, a lot of mine's physical. I told someone the other day that I work with. I actually showed them the uh, the last thing I did with Jenna, and they wanted to watch it. So I showed them that, and they were astonished. They were like, I never would have known you had OCD. Well, yeah, you're not gonna see mine. You know what I mean? A lot of times you can see it. And I'm sure there's people on here right now that have that physical that we're like, okay, we know you have OCD. We can see what you're doing. But me, it's all up here. So it's still the same, still counts. It's still very hard and very debilitating sometimes. So just as much as the physical compulsions. So um, yeah, let's see. Let's see. But this is awesome. You guys are like really getting into it. Yeah, I noticed in the chat, like I said, it's a great point with the mental, physical. Um, it's sometimes even harder, like the mental. I'm biased because, like I said, that's what I deal with. But mental is just so much up here, and I think it's sometimes a little harder because it's like you feel a little more lonely with it. It's not like um, aesthetic, like it's not out in the world. You're not doing it. You're really, really in your mind at all times. So, um, but yeah, for me, as you guys keep commenting stuff and asking, questions, those are great questions. Keep throwing out some questions. For me, maybe if you guys have any questions, like, I'm an answer machine right now. So if you have any questions, hard, easy, how I've got to where I'm at, what was the hardest, just throw questions out. I think it's good for y'all to see like a testimony, like a true testimony, than me just try to answer questions, like that clinical clinicians should be doing. So, um, but yeah, um, OCD for me, I'm gonna kind of start back at. I don't know if any of y'all have this where it started, but when I really dug into it, I think I was like 7 years old, and looking back now, I was like, wow, that makes a ton of sense now. I remember like it was yesterday. I thought I was having trouble swallowing, and I remember like I said, like literally like it was yesterday. It's still in my head to this day. I was 7, and then I researched, and if y'all don't know, a lot of times OCD with children and with kids, it usually starts with something like physical, like swallowing, blinking, things like that. Usually, and I realized that a lot of times they said it usually starts with something with like the throat. And I was so amazed by that because I looked back and I was like, wow, like I was right on point. Like I followed the OCD pattern to a T, without even knowing it. So looking back at that kind of gave me, it kind of made me feel better, in a way. I was like, okay, like that makes a lot of sense now, looking back at what you had to deal with, through your childhood and things. I can kind of laugh at it now, but, it was very real even back then. So let's see. Yeah, Jasmine G. I love her too. Yeah. It's like a big community. Maybe we can have like a big convention someday. Um, yeah. So yeah, it was about like it was about like 7 years old. Like I said, when I started to deal with the OCD things, it started, like I said, if not swallowing, it was very weird. Um, and then it kind of went into things, like I said, it's always what you care about. So to shine light on it a little bit, like I was a baseball player my whole life. Loved baseball, worked so hard at everything from my swing to my throwing to all that. I remember like I would get caught in bathrooms, like at different places, whether it was at school or something. I would stand in front of the mirror and I would do my swing, like my, fake baseball swing. And I would do it like over and over again until it felt right. What does that sound like, guys? I mean, come on, it's right on. But like I said, it's because I cared so much about baseball. I'm 27 years old. I love baseball still, but I don't really have that like that deep um, like love and care for baseball. So it kind of see how it morphs, into something different. So you can kind of see that with ROCD. You might be having struggling with that, and then all of a sudden you get in a relationship, and now I have ROCD. Catching that pattern, guys, is like the biggest thing. You don't have OCD, you don't have harm OCD, you don't have POCD, you have OCD. And that's just the way your brain works. And I think the more we can get away from, and even the more I got away from saying like what subtype I have, and just becoming like a master of OCD in general, uh, that's when I really started to make like strides in recovery. Um, because like I said, it's going to jump. It might not, but it probably will jump from thing to thing. And that doing that, really got me to the point where like, all right, I'm gonna deal with OCD, and I don't care what subtype it is. I'm gonna train the same way I would, and we're gonna keep moving. So um, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, how long did it take for ERP to feel better? Um, like I said, it depends. I think it really depends on like what's going on in your life around you. I think ERP is great when things in your life aren't like all over the place, if that makes sense. You can still make strides, like I said, when you're, when you're feeling down and out or something's going on or you have a big events or things like that. But I think that um, ERP for me works the best when, like I said, I'm more at peace with things around me, and guys, want to be honest with you, guys and girls, like life isn't that easy, as we all probably know in our own way. Life is a blessing, but it's also not easy. And there's never a time where if you wait for a time like, oh, I'll practice here, or I'll put OCD to the side, and then I'll wait a little bit. Like that's not going to work. So the earlier you can jump in, the better. We're all going to come from different angles, but the quicker you can just jump into anything, I think the better. So even if that's just taking time to learn about OCD or read a book or something like that. Like just getting involved a little bit, I think will help you down the road. And one big thing for me, kind of tying this in with ERP is obviously ERP causes some immediate anxiety, and things like that. Why wouldn't it? You're facing your biggest fears up here. You know what I mean? But I think what helped with me, I remember, like I said, I still do it to this day, but like meditation. I became a lot of the things I do in my life. I noticed like I'll jump on it and then I go all in. So like if I jump into something, I'm gonna try to be the best at it. Or I'm gonna get you know do it to a T. Um, but that's just kind of the disciplined individual that I am. But I remember taking on meditation, and that really helped my anxiety bring it down, and then I could make a stride with OCD. So I think attacking it from that side really helped me get to where I am today. So um, kind of bringing down the anxiety first in my life, whether that was with my job, with friends, family, with my hobbies, wherever I felt anxiety at, bringing that down, whether it was through like meditation, medication, a mix, through faith things, all those things combined really, I would say, really helped me to get, even when I was doing ERP, but to bring that anxiety down just enough to where I could like have ERP help push me forward. So um, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, looking at, like I said, we're talking about medicine and OCD. I started, I mean, like I said, I have no regrets with how I did it. I did like 5 years of my own work before even taking medicine. I think that it's back to that same thing that it's dependent on you. We're all different, so that's kind of up to you to figure out, you and your therapist, and through your understanding of it, and to experiment. If you feel up to it. But yeah, just speaking from my personal experience, I didn't have any medicine, until about a year ago. So, um, and like I said, I don't, I'm not going to tell anybody to do it the same way because I know that we're all different. But I, I'll tell you every day that I think that therapy, uh, meditation, all those little things that you can do almost like at home, and without medicine is going to push you forward further. And then once you bring maybe a medicine in, I think you have such a strong base to work off of. So I would think for anybody out there wondering, build that base first, because like I said, if you're trying to build a base with medicine, I don't know if that's like the best way to do it. So build a strong base with what you know and what you can do, whether it's with yourself, with your therapist, or through what we're doing right now. Build a strong base, and then I think that the medicine will help you even that much more instead of the other way around. Yeah, this is great right here. Jasmine, gee, nice picture, Jasmine. Uh, oh yeah, as you start to get better, more new themes pop up. So I just started to recognize it's easier in doing exposures when I see it. So this is a really good point, that I want y'all to like really understand. The more, it's kind of the opposite. It's kind of backward. Like the more OCD you have to at a point, you'll hit a point where you'll start to realize like your mind inside will you'll be able to recognize like there's so many different themes that it's like, okay, now there's a lot weighing that like this is kind of not real. You know what I mean? Like it'll almost become so real, I guess, that it won't be real to you. Um, I know that sounds you're probably like, Tyler, you're freaking crazy. But yeah, it made a lot of sense to me because Jasmine actually kind of dealt with this, recently, being able to understand that, these different themes like are all tied together and they're the same lie, if you will, and I think being able to recognize that, I would say that having several themes was the only reason that I could recognize that. So, like I said, it happens for a reason, and being able to see that reason, that's great. So good for you, being able to kind of sit with that, like understanding of okay, like POCD and then SOOCD and then like harm OCD, like, and then my light bulb kind of goes on, like, wait a minute, like this is all it's almost funny, like it's all the same. So that light bulb is huge in people. It was huge with me. It's huge with me to this day. Being able to, if I'll have a theme tomorrow that's something brand new, all of a sudden it gets easier and easier to recognize, like, okay, like OCD found something else, to jump on. Bravo, OCD, Um, so yeah, that's a great point. Good job for understanding that. It's amazing. Let's see what else we got. Oh wow, this is cool. So yeah, Elizabeth S. People who play sports need to practice sometimes obsessively to compete and get better. So how did you make the call that it was OCD and not practice for baseball? That's fine. You called me out. I appreciate it. Yeah, that well, here's the thing. Here's the funny part is I didn't realize it till 5 years ago, So back then it was just part of my life, and I didn't realize it till I was 25 years old, and realized like, hey, maybe other kids weren't doing that, And the hard part for me is, and I'm sure some of y'all out there that play sports or have like hobbies that you're like super into, um, like sometimes like for me, I'm a very disciplined, very hardworking person, and um, that's just kind of who I am. And being able to find that it was hard to find that that fine line, But nowadays, I can kind of understand that the older you get, the more mature you get, you understand like what's kind of like normal and not, like what I shouldn't be spending that much time on, versus like okay, like in the gym, for example, like I work out, and try to change my get a physique, and it's like obviously that takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of like over and over repetitive stuff. You compare that to my OCD, and it's just the difference is that like I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make me feel good to have OCD thoughts. I love being in the gym. I love playing baseball. Um, that's kind of the difference. Well, anything OCD related is going to probably cause you the anxiety, the uncomfortable feeling. But yeah, that's funny you mentioned that. Yeah. So yeah. Let's see. Like I said, as we wind down here, the last 10 minutes, you guys just stay positive. Keep like I said, keep bringing it to the light. Keep helping others. Whether it's with whether bringing it to the light means different things to everybody. That might be with yourself, with your therapist, with somebody, one of your loved ones. Just keep advocating, and keep bringing it, to the surface. I mean, we need more people like us and everybody's in this, conversation to do it out in the world. Even beyond the OCD community needs to get more involved with this. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Any of y'all that watch sports, you start to see like sports guys coming out. LeBron's a big one. Advocates for mental health, and I always look at when I see that, I think automatically OCD, but like I said, not everybody has OCD, but they do have things that they could benefit from, talking it out and things like that. So I think that's great in sports that they're bringing it to the surface. So yeah, let me see where. Let's see where I'm gonna find your question, man. I'm not the smartest at this technology, but I'm gonna find it. Let's see. Maybe it'd be better if you just ask it again. Let's see. But yeah, it's I think you were talking about the scared feeling and things like that, man. And it's very very scary, But like I said, if you look at the positives, as you move forward, I don't know how old you are or where you're at and things like that, but as you get more mature with it, you start to become, like I said, a master of fear. So um, it's only going to help you, with things out in the world, outside of the OCD thing. So not only when you do, work that you need for yourself, with OCD, not only helps you, but it like with this, but it also helps you deal with everything else you're going to encounter. And that's why I always say like people without OCD even could benefit from ERP because we all have fears, we all um, deal with things. Fear is a big part of life, and unfortunately, we have to deal with it 24/7. You know, and hopefully not always 24/7. But yeah, yeah, this is awesome. I hope y'all get on these every week. I'm here today, kind of just by myself, but like I said, Jenna's awesome. Jenna Overbaugh is one of the therapists within OCD. You guys have probably seen her on here before. She has great insight. Go back, watch her stuff. Um, like I said, I've been doing it a while, but I'm not by any means a therapist. So I love giving a positive, vibe to OCD. I love just simply admitting it and bringing it to the light. And I'll always share my testimony, with you guys and with, people that want to know and want to learn. But yeah, go back and watch some of those. She has great insight. Um, yeah, the other big thing too, a big thing too that helped me, aside from we all know how to, what ERP is and doing all the therapy and things like that. That's great. And, that's never going to hurt you. But I think finding ways that you can deal with it in your regular life, like things that find ways, to, to, to cope with it in other ways. I love fitness, I love to work out. That's what I was born to do. And in some way, shape, or form, like that has pushed me through. Um, Dealing with OCD, it wasn't easy, especially in the gym is my home and it's my safe zone. And but it really, having something to go to other than just your work, other than just, your daily stuff, having a hobby really helped me, having something something to go to, other than, just like the daily grind, really helped me. So, and like I said, it really helps take that focus off of, your thoughts, your over and over again type stuff. So find something you love, stick close to your values. Having values is awesome. Like write them down, write down what's in your heart, what's in your soul, like what God put in you, whether it's, what you're doing stuff for your family, your friends, your next generation, um, what do you love to do? Who do you love? Um, those simple questions that seem so easy for other people, like I think that we have to write them down because our minds work a little different, and having those at the ready is good. It helped me a lot. Before every time when I'm struggling or not, like before I go into the gym or I go into work, like I'm reading that stuff, over and over again, and not excessively, not obsessively, but um, putting that fresh in my mind, really helps me. And I think that'll help anybody. But I think for people with OCD whose minds kind of reset every day, I think that, starting off the day with something like that instead of something negative is a great way to start. So, yeah, but yeah, it's great. I'm glad you guys came to this. I think it's awesome. Get your friends to watch it. I know it'll be on YouTube. Um, and I hope that I hope I answered enough questions, but I'll probably be back with one of the therapists, where we can kind of bounce ideas back and forth. But yeah, it's great. 2 a.m. That's really late. I don't know where y'all are at, but it's about what 9 o'clock here. So we're in Florida, Sunshine State. Uh, Blessings to all you who are freezing wherever you're at. I can't do that. I did Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania my whole life, and my family's still up there. So um, I'm here in Florida, come vacation. Um, Ireland, oh awesome, yeah, the Blarney Stone. Um, yeah, so I hope you all stay healthy. Um, Obviously, we're at a time right now that makes OCD hard and mental health hard. The pandemic. But I think this is also the opportunity to really work on your stuff. I took it as an opportunity to really get wiser with this stuff and um, to really, come out on the better side of it every day. So, um, but yeah, embrace your OCD, guys. Help someone else. Get on that app. Write to somebody. You never know what like a small word might do for someone. Like we saw in here today, like someone else was struggling with the same stuff I was. With the eye contact. Like bringing that to the surface not only helped me, but I know it's going to help him or her. And to get past that and move forward. So help someone else. And that goes for everything in what you do. Help someone else bring peace. Our world needs more peace um, in the mental health field and just in general out in the world. Um, so continue to spread the peace, and I think that'll help you to really, honestly, like bringing anxiety down, and you add that with like trying to be a more peaceful person, like every minute of the day. I'm telling you, it makes OCD like 10 times easier. So um, I told y'all I kind of come at a different angle of OCD. I hope it helped. I hope it didn't like trigger anybody too much, but I've always been the person to kind of do things differently. So um, continue to work with your therapist, continue to work on your own, um, continue to let the people know that you're close to, and have a nice conversation with them maybe. And if they're, any bit, of a good-hearted person, they'll understand and want to be part of it, if they, so, like I said, always bring a positive light to it. OCD is negative. Bring a positive. If you're gonna bring it up, make sure it's positive. Try to stay positive. Try to stay upbeat with it. And I know it's hard because it brings us to like a dark place, but when you turn the tables on it, it's amazing how its power kind of dwindles. So, um, yeah, but yeah, that's a good one. That's a cool one. That everyone has intrusive thoughts, but we just get more anxious from them, so they get more sticky and come out more. Guys, Miriam said it. I mean, she dropped the mic with that. That's pretty much it. So, um, yeah, Miriam, that's just a great way to put it. Simple, to the point, straight and to the point. Um, and I think that's why some other people can kind of benefit from OCD training because they might kind of struggle with that, but a small level. So, all right, guys. Well, I think my time is up. I hope that it helped everybody that was here. I send prayers out to all y'all. Keep being peaceful, keep working on this stuff, and just know that um, there's other people that are dealing with it too. And it's tough, but when you get you got to put the work in, and you'll get to the next levels with it. So don't be scared. Never settle. with any of this stuff, stay strong with it, and stay close to God and the Word, and your values, and you'll never go wrong. So thank you guys. Have a blessed, awesome night, and continue to stay positive. Peace.